Okay, we're good.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, well, welcome everybody to our regularly scheduled monthly board meeting for Whatcom County Fire District 4. We have a quorum and call the meeting to order. We'll go around the room. I'm Mark Land.
Harry Andrews.
Chris Parks.
Jason Vanderveen.
Joe Quinn.
I'm Heather Logan. I'm a communications consultant.
Yeah, hi Heather, and welcome. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to be part of this when we get to you. And just in consideration of your time, Heather, on our agenda, I don't know if you have that in front of you, but we'll try to get to you so you can give us, the briefing and the update just for the benefit of the board and the rest of the staff. But as is our custom, we typically go through our consent agenda. Chris, would you be willing to kick that part of the meeting off, the governor's proclamation and then the consent agenda items?
Yeah, absolutely. Due to Governor Inslee's proclamation 28-20, District 4 is prohibited from providing a location for the public to attend this meeting. Members of the public will be able to hear the entire meeting via Zoom meeting. And we have some changes maybe on that later on. Approval of the consent agenda. Today we have on the agenda the meeting minutes from June 10th, regular board meeting, the staff reports, the financial reports, 2 vouchers, a district payroll for $6,390.83, and the expenditure voucher in the amount of $547,355.82.
Thank you. Harry, did you have anything in that consent agenda that we needed to pull out or discuss for any reason?
No, I didn't see anything at all we need to pull out. Looks good.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Could I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And I'll second it. It was moved and seconded that the consent agenda be approved. Is there any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great. So that takes us to the first part of our unfinished business. So I would like to introduce Heather Logan. Harry, I can't remember how much you've been involved or heard about just how the informational, how do I want to put it? The informational program or the way we're going to disseminate information about the upcoming levy is going to be handled. But you may recall that we determined to employ a consulting firm. Heather's a part of that, and she's agreed to join us to maybe kind of give us an update, hit the bullet points on the highlights, sort of summarize how we got to where we are today. So great, take it away, Heather.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Land. So first of all, let's check timings. Whatcom County has mailed the voter's guide and the ballots. Did anybody get one yet?
I got my voter's guide.
Okay.
I got the voter guide as well.
Okay, good. But no ballots yet, huh?
No ballot.
No.
Okay. Well, they're in the mail, and that's good. Anything that gets in front of voters and says, "Oh, pay attention to me," that's good for us. The mailer was also mailed on Wednesday. Does Whatcom County Mail have to go to Bellingham or Seattle and then come back?
Everett.
Everett comes back.
Everett. Yep. Okay. So I would expect those mailers maybe Monday then. They're big. They're 6 by 9 and they fold out because District 4 has more of a story to tell. So that's it. Did you get that in the mail? No.
No, I just picked that up on the way in, but it looks beautiful.
So that was my next thing, is that we do have 200 extra copies if you guys want them in your fists and to pass them out to anybody who wants to talk. It is educational. It is not advocacy. It simply tells the story and encourages people to vote on August 3rd, but it does not say vote yes or vote no. But again, you can see how big it is. We had to go that size to get the whole story on. Does anybody have any questions about the mailer? It's our big marquee piece.
It was well done. Well done.
Thank you. The team had fun working on it.
I have been contacted by a citizen who's asked for some
Oh,
to
good.
distribute. So commissioners, if you could, she sounded very enthusiastic. So I think don't take them all, please.
Great,
Right.
great. Yeah, I'll connect with you offline, chief,
Yes.
and get
Yep.
the backstory on that.
Okay.
Hey, Heather, you mentioned stuff was in the mail. I can't remember. Did you say, you did say that those went out on Wednesday, but since they're going through Everett, so they should be hitting people's boxes.
Yeah, Saturday would be lovely, but I assume Monday is more likely.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, and any issues with the mailing list or the distribution list, where you think they're going, just that kind of stuff?
No, we paid the print house to create an accurate list, and I can't remember the number, 3,361 maybe. They got the list from Whatcom County and whittled it down to the addresses in District 4. And so every single address in District 4 is getting that big old shiny mailer. So we were looking for 100% coverage.
Yeah.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks again for all the work you and your team put into it. It was fun joining those meetings, and I just basically, Harry, for your benefit, I just basically sat back almost, not necessarily as an observer, but at these creative meetings. Heather and her team, they and the chief, of course, they were just all over it. They knew exactly what to do. Clearly, they were the right outfit to go with. So, thumbs up or thumbs down on the election. I feel good that we could not have done any better.
Oh, that's very sweet. It has been our pleasure. 27 years without an increase is impressive. And, it's time. It's time. So hopefully the voters see it that way, and fingers crossed. Tuesday will be 2 weeks out, and we are watching the ballot return statistics. Unfortunately for you guys, lots of places run elections all the time, and how many ballots you're going to get back. 20 to 25% is common in an election like this, but you guys have no history. So, we'll all find out together.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, did anybody, Harry or Chris, Jason, Joe, anybody have anything for Heather? Because if not, I was going to suggest that, she could leave or stay. It's a public meeting, whatever she'd like to do. But if she has other things to run to, we would understand.
Heather, did you have anything to do with the signs I see stuck in the ground around my neighborhood? Or was that the union?
That's the union, Commissioner Andrews.
Look good too. They do.
Yep. I wish there were more, but we have what we have.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
I just want to echo Commissioner Land's thanks for Heather and the comms team, Chris Fawcett and Karen Reed. They've been immensely helpful at directing us where to gather data and learning. I've learned a lot from this on both not campaigns, but both advocacy, not non-advocacy, both informative campaigns on data that we're missing because of the length of time that we've gone without going to the voters, especially in District 4. So it's been very interesting, but these folks are absolute dynamos and a blast to work with. So.
Well, thank you. Again, it's been our pleasure. So if no one else needs me, I will run off and annoy somebody else.
Yeah. Thanks again, Heather.
Everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Great. Yeah, that was a great update. And looks like everything is on track. Everything's on the timeline. So now we just see what happens, see what the voters want to do. I've got Station 13 cell tower update. Who's driving that? Because I hope it's not me.
Joe got me in contact with Brian Gunnarsson, and I sent him over the contract with the cell tower company, and he did a review of the agreement. And in your meeting packet, you find the results. He was saying there's nothing more that can be done for additional revenue with a carrier. But I don't know if Joe could maybe weigh in and provide a little bit more information on the legal side of this.
Yeah, that was the purpose of my referral of Brian Gunnarsson. He's a great consultant on cell towers, and he sends us a lot of work to represent the property owner that might have a cell tower on their property against the big bruising Verizons of the world and Sprint and American Tower Corporation. There's always this middleman between the cell tower, the cell companies and the people who they rent from. And that's companies like American Tower and a few others that are widely used in Washington State. And I just don't feel I know enough about it, even though we represent a lot of these private property owners. So whenever I can get Brian involved to help you find out if there's something you're missing, like potential revenue from a cell tower, which can be enormous, then I bring Brian in and he'll do it for free. If there's nothing much he can do for you, I think he'll stop right there. I haven't gotten a bill. I'm not sure that you're going to get a bill for his time. He spent some time on this, obviously. But you see how he concludes. There's not much that the company can do for you because there's not much upside revenue potential. I just wanted to make sure you weren't getting totally raked over the coals by that company that you've dealt with. And it appears you did get $220,000 as a so-called signing bonus in the first place. And so there was like a prepayment of rent. But I think we can close it. Brian concluded from talking to Chris that really the property's not for sale anymore at this time, probably because of you don't want to impact your WSRB rating. So it's a moot point, sort of. But I'm glad we looked. I'm glad we did the due diligence to figure out if there was something about that cell tower that you were leaving money on the table. So that's all I have to add.
Joe, I have a question. What happens if the cell tower goes out and hires another company to add their antenna on the cell tower? And that would give them, of course, more income. Would it affect us at all?
No, probably not. The way that was written, you don't really have much to say about that, unfortunately.
That's what I was afraid of.
Sometimes we have language in there that allows us to demand co-location rent or a share of what they get in the sublease. And Brian didn't find that in your contract.
No.
That was one of the things I wanted to look at, actually. And apparently it isn't really written from your standpoint very well.
Nope.
Well, thanks for the update, Chris and Joe. Joe, that's just, it reminds me that we're fortunate to have you, or that you've taken us on as one of your clients. You've got those kind of connections that allow this sort of thing to be done on our behalf. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we are probably stuck and can't do anything with it, but I would agree with you that it was worth looking into and doing the due diligence. And, now we know.
It's a resource too that now you know about. So if anybody up there in Whatcom County has a station and there's any interest shown in a cell company leasing some equipment on that station, Jason probably now will have a contact in Brian Gunnarsson, and you'll get top dollar if that happens. And it happens all the time. You'd be surprised. I have a lot of water district and fire district clients that have antennas all over their water towers. And so there's a lot of money in this. Just be aware of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, before we move into new business, is there any other unfinished business that has come up or maybe didn't make the agenda that we need to address?
I did just really quickly want to touch on the WSRB changes to the south end of District 4. I wrote about it in my chief's report that it's been re-rated from a 6 to a 9A due to essentially the sale of Station 11. I spoke with the VP at WSRB, and he gave me two options that are not options at all, kind of tongue in cheek. There's really nothing we can do. I did ask for a map of other areas of Whatcom County that are rated at 9A, so we could see that we're not the only one. They are in, it's surprising. There's a small, it is just behind my chief's report, the map. If you want to take a look at it, there's a very small pocket kind of northwest of Bellingham, and then the rest of it is in the East County. And there's nothing at this point that can be done. We will be re-rated next year. We expect to see them come knocking around September, October to prepare for the re-rate. And the gentleman I spoke to from WSRB offered as much help as he can give in getting us a positive, headed in a good direction. We had a long talk about the history of the ratings that have been done by North Whatcom on District 4's behalf, and I think that he and I have a much more transparent relationship than maybe was what happened in the past. So all I can do is move forward.
Well, one item I'd like to bring up is that our clients down along the lake there are a lot of lawyers and a lot of doctors and so forth. And I know that they'll read this stuff very carefully. And the idea that we're asking for a levy lift and then hit them with a higher fire service tax and kind of getting both barrels at the same time are not going to make them the happiest clients that we have. So
no, that's a good point, Harry. I mean, the timing couldn't probably be any worse.
Yeah.
No, it's not a good position to be in. And I think, it was just one of those things where things were set in motion, maybe that we didn't necessarily have, at least me, didn't necessarily have total control over or feedback or input. I'm just glad that the chief has, been willing to have those hard conversations and is acting a little bit as the spear catcher on some of this. But yeah, we just use it. We're gonna have more strategic planning in the future, and we're gonna make good decisions based on data driven by what our customers want, and we're just gonna move forward.
Yep.
It is unfortunate, Commissioner Andrews, that the timing is poor. And after I found out about this, I did, just so you know, I reached out to Commissioner Land and we sat down and talked, and I told him what happened and why. And all I can do is give you my commitment to transparency and honesty moving forward with WSRB. It is not right what's happened. It's absolutely not right. And I will gladly take the phone calls. I've been try to be very understanding as I talk to both homeowners and insurance companies. Insurance companies are just as frustrated as I am. We have tried me writing letters showing that nothing has changed, including the auto aid agreement with Bellingham. We have tried everything we can to try to get the big corporate insurance companies to understand that there's literally no change in coverage other than a building that wasn't functioning as a firehouse still being there. And they are just locked into their little algorithm and will not bend at all.
Yeah, that's too bad. And, it seems a little bit odd to me that an empty building with an old fire engine in there gave them, and for years, gave them a certain insurance rate. And then we tell them by our letter that we've sold that building and we've taken the fire engine out, and bang, they really increased the coverage.
And everybody understands until you get to a certain level of corporate, and then you get corporate speak. And I don't have the experience, and I don't even know if Mr. Quinn and I locked arm in arm could change their mind at this point. It's just, they are just going off what a computer tells them. They will not bend. It's just, I hate to, on a public meeting, I hate to say it, it's starting to seem like it's about profits, but it's kind of starting to seem like it's about profits. They can crank it up just based on a number, and that's what they're doing.
Yep.
So,
But the people that are going to vote for our levy lift, that's where I think we're going to see some kickback, because they're going to vote no if they're thinking about all the charges that are going up. But then, will they do that, or will they think that they're going to get superior fire coverage? Even with our agreements with Bellingham and some of the other fire districts, but it's tending.
Yep. Yeah, good reminder that, it's our job to just provide accurate information, and our customers are smart. They can discern the facts, and that's our job to give them the facts, and then they make their decisions. It reminds me though, Harry, that I feel pretty good about that. We put the brakes on entertaining selling that other station up on Smith Road. It's just for a lot of reasons, including this one. It was a good decision to not entertain another one of those.
Well, I think one safeguard we have is how well the brochure that's being mailed out is. I mean, that explains everything right up front. We don't tell them how to vote or anything, but they can read it and make their decision then.
Yep.
Maybe you should put together some sort of a white paper that could be given out by the chief or by the staff to any inquirers from that area, that points out that your service hasn't degraded at all. It was the closing of a defunct, non-used station that caused the rating bureau and the insurance companies to do this to us. But the fact is that your service level remains the same or is improving. If they vote yes, of course, it should even improve. So it might not be bad to have a white paper in your back pocket to give to people like that call to inquire or complain, that the chief or Chris could just give those people to explain the truth.
Well, I think that along with the brochure would be a good idea.
And I this the first couple of phone calls I wasn't super excited for, but now I actually have kind of learned that they're a opportunity to educate people, and I nobody's yelled at me, nobody's slammed the phone down on me. You're right, Commissioner Andrews, maybe they don't leave happy, but at least they leave with an honest explanation, and that's unfortunately that's more than they had before. So
that's why transparency is so important.
So if Joe and Jason, Chris, if you guys offline later wanted to put something like that together, I hear what you're saying, Joe. I would totally support those efforts. Just speaking for myself, the only thing I would want to make sure is that with the timeline and as quick as things are getting out in front of voters, that if you were going to invest some time and resources into this, that we could effectively get that message out. But if that's something you guys want to do, I'd support it.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a one paragraph sort of a press release, just to have it. It wouldn't take long to prepare that, probably.
I'll work with Mr. Quinn and Chris on that.
Good.
Yeah, press release. Yeah, that would really be a good route. I almost wonder if we could get it out there as even a public service announcement, go that angle. But anyway, we can talk more about that if you guys come up with something. Are you okay with that, Harry?
Yeah, I was wondering if Joe would have the time to maybe do it, because he's a wordsmith. He really is, and I'm not. So.
Well, I'd be happy to send a draft to Jason and Chris, and then they could just finalize it and put it out. I was thinking of something simple to have in your back pocket. You wouldn't have to be too aggressive in releasing it to the press. But if you get inquiries about this, I hate to have them leave with the wrong impression or just get a verbal explanation. Maybe it'd be better to have a little something to give them or email to them and say, this is what happened.
Yeah,
I agree.
good. All right, well, I'm glad you brought that up, Jason. That was good discussion. All right, anything else before we move to new business? All right, so it looks like, if memory serves me correct, we sort of have this Plan B levy lid lift resolution for the November ballot in case the August one doesn't go as we had planned. So, Joe, maybe you could help me here or tee this up. It's done. Do we just need a simple motion and to essentially approve the one that's been drafted?
Right. When you do one of these backup election resolutions and explanatory statements, they're really almost identical to what you put on the primary. The only thing that I think Chris and I changed was the dates. Like the date of the election is November now instead of August. But other than that, there's really no difference between this and what you already approved for the primary. It's unfortunate, but the legislature says that these election materials for the general election in November are due on the date of the primary. So you don't know the results yet, and you have to submit the backup election. And then we have to figure out what each county wants us to do to pull it off the ballot. If it looks like it's clearly being approved in the August primary, then this is redundant. You just pull it off somehow.
Yeah.
But it's pretty straightforward. It's almost exactly what you've already approved.
Okay, and so for the motion, for the record, we would call it the resolution number 2021-03.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Harry, do you want me to do that, or do you want to do that?
Oh, I'll move to just say yes on that.
Okay, and I'll second it. It was moved and seconded that we approve and move forward with resolution number 2021-03, along with the explanatory statement in preparation for the November ballot. Will that work, Joe?
Yes, that should work.
All those or any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Land?
Yeah.
Would you publicly call for a pro and con committee for the statement?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anybody out there right now live watching or who sees this recorded later, we would very much on behalf of the board appreciate your participation either on the pro or con committee. And you can contact Chris Parks if you are interested in that. Will that work?
And with your permission, either Chris or I can ask Heather Logan to do a press release asking for the same, similar to what we did earlier. And then we can post it on your website, and that will meet all three requirements for outreach for that pro and con committee.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks so much, Chief, for reminding me of that. Okay. Did I forget to say something? Or are we ready for correspondence? Okay, correspondence. Actionable duties of police and fire agencies. Yeah, so our counselor there, you were kind enough to share what you had written and disseminated. Yeah, obviously the chief is aware of that too. It's a huge change with local law enforcement, county by county, maybe or maybe not responding to what we used to call as welfare checks or people with appearing to be suffering from mental health crises. Puts, of course, the safety of first responders primarily in this case, fire department personnel, because they don't carry guns and all the defensive tools that the police do. They look to the police often for physical safety. So yeah, let's talk about this, and what should we know?
Well, it seems to me that it seems to be popping up everywhere, because I wrote that memo due to a request that started coming from King County, from Burien, and then a couple days later from Centralia, an RFA down there. And then within a week, I noticed my son was working on the same thing with Central Pierce in Pierce County. So there were 3 counties that we knew of. And then the next thing I knew, we were contacted by one of the other lawyers. It was either Rich Davis or Brian Snur. I don't remember now. But they proposed the idea of the legal committee, we call it. Those lawyers in the state who deal with a lot of fire districts and RFAs have formed this legal committee years ago to make sure that we don't advise clients in 5 different ways on the same issue. And then we have a united front of interpretation of the law. And so I just thought we should do this background memo essentially so that we have the kind of the ground rules and the principles that are invoked when the police start saying things like, we're just not going to respond to these types of calls. Because we're getting a little bit different message in different places. I keep getting more information about what the Lewis County Sheriff is saying, and some more information about what chiefs and county sheriff are saying in King County, but it's all over the place. I'm not sure at this point that we really know exactly what the police will be doing in regard to what we call 1310 and 1054. 1310 is the more general one that says that we're going to reform the police use of force. You all know the background, I think, as to why the police are being asked to straighten up or change their procedures, you might say. But the other one is important too, 1054. I think we wrote about it in the Firehouse Lawyer. So you want to read that whenever it comes out, because it's pretty comprehensive in dealing with these statutes. But 1054 goes way beyond what we think of as impacting the fire service. There will be a difference in police chases. High-speed police chases might be a thing of the past if there's any perceived risk to the public safety or anybody else if they don't break off the chase. So, I mean, we had one police chief who said at a meeting with the fire people in King County that if they had word of a bank robbery and they arrived at the scene and the perpetrator was leaving the scene, even with $100 bills falling out of his pockets, jumped in his car, that they wouldn't pursue him because they have no personal knowledge. They weren't there. The police have no personal knowledge that a crime has been committed, so they just let him get away. Hopefully they'd get his license number. But some of the comments that they've made have been unbelievable or absurd to me as to what they will not do. And I'm just afraid that a little bit the police are overreacting to criticism. Policemen and women are retiring like crazy all over the nation, getting out of the field. And you can't blame them in a way because of the criticism. But this is a sort of the same phenomenon. They're being criticized, and therefore they're deciding to pull in their horns and do less. Well, that means that we in the fire service will have to do more, it appears. And, you know, in mental health crises, we've already collaborated with the police a lot and had some difficulties in Pierce County a couple of years ago. So I see the fire service possibly picking up more duties in dealing with the mentally ill, simply because there's nobody else to jump into that breach in some counties. In King County and Pierce County, we have some teams now with mental health professionals that team up with either police or fire, and they go to these calls. And that's great to have these mental health professionals who are trained basically 100% of the time to deal with mental health. Whereas police and fire, the training and the lack of training is all over the place. They're not trained in the fire service to deal with mentally ill people. It's mostly sick or not sick in a physical sense. That's what the EMTs and the paramedics are looking for. Is this person sick in some way that we can help them? Other than giving them a ride to the hospital, we're supposed to try to help them and provide emergency medical service. And they're not trained for this. And really, in most cases, neither are the police. But we need to get up to speed. I think if the fire service is going to be the agency that takes the lead and actually does respond to the 911 call, we better be ready to do the job once we choose to act. So this is going to be a big problem. I can't summarize it much more than I said in that 20-page memo or whatever it was. And I'm sorry for that, but I had to go into the differences between police and fire.
Yeah.
As a former legal advisor for the county sheriff for about 4 years, back when I was young, I know the difference between police and fire in terms of the legalities and the power. The power that they have is the reason that police are a lot less popular with the general public than firefighters are, let's face it, because they enforce the laws. And so I don't know. This was basically background and introduction for you so that everybody is kind of starting on the same page with knowing the essential principles.
Yeah, it was a great summary, Joe. And just now, even, thanks for hitting the highlights, and it really does help, frame the problems in front of us. So that, when you talked about how we respond in operations, that was a great segue. I was going to then ask the chief, obviously it's unfolding, but at this point, is there anything that this board, can do for you that you would think that would, where we could support you in any way, or is it just too early to know? Or I guess I'm asking if there's, at this point, is there anything that you need from us?
At this point, nothing more than to stay engaged and continue to kind of listen and see what gets pushed out. This is kind of an evolving situation. I can tell you that I've been told that the city of Bellingham is standing up its own crisis response unit, which I believe will be a firefighter and a mental health professional responding to these welfare checks. In the county, I've been told that the county is working on something as well. The goal is to not have two completely dissimilar units stood up, right? So that we're not competing against, or one side's doing more, one side's doing less. The city is fast tracking it. Definitely, they want something up yesterday. In speaking with the city of Bellingham chief, the difficulty is, what are the training standards? What do we need to know? What are the protocols? What are the SOPs behind this kind of thing? I believe the county's taking a little bit slower approach. I'm expecting the next chiefs meeting, this will be a big topic of discussion. We have been told as of the operations meeting yesterday that they are changing some run cards in dispatch, that police will not be going to things that do not involve a crime, which has already been happening. And, it's unfortunate, but some units have arrived at the scene of, what was thought to be somebody falling that turned out to be a physical domestic. Those kind of things, and that's gonna happen. In the interim, like I said, they're changing run cards they're working on a new run card, basically a welfare check run card. And until something is stood up, like I said, countywide, it's going to be a district by district choice on how to deal with these. Just me, myself, in speaking with Chief Ward, we're going to take a little bit more. I'm default aggressive, but we're going to take a little bit more conservative approach to this, because we realize that our firefighters have been trained from day one to go in and do something, which is maybe not always the healthiest or safest choice when dealing with an unknown situation. So our specific response is evolving to this new run card, it's just going to be a catch-all, that we don't know what's going on, but we don't think a crime has been committed is basically what this new run card. It's going to be basically a police non-involvement welfare check. And that's the most up-to-date, best information I've got for you. I will absolutely. Sorry.
2 points about that, Chief, that concern me. First of all, you mentioned it a couple times. I think it's very important that you correlate this with dispatch. Working closely with dispatch so that they know what you want to do and they know what the police want to do and not do. So as long as we, as long as the run cards are accurate and match up with what you want to do and not do, then you probably won't be dispatched to a call that you've said you don't want to go to, that type of call.
And that's where this is starting. It's starting at the dispatch center.
And it's already starting, isn't it? These laws aren't even effective until July 25th.
Well,
the police are already changing.
Yes, that happened immediately as soon as the sheriff kind of said we're not going to these anymore, or at least the sheriff's department said that there was going to be a change. But the beginnings of those run cards are being written by dispatchers and the communication supervisors for both law enforcement and fire. So there is coordination there, so nothing falls in the gap. So yes, that concern is being met, hopefully.
I guess you could see my big concern was with sort of a risk management concern. As being the attorney for fire departments, I'm always concerned about avoiding liabilities that we can see on the horizon.
Absolutely.
And so my big concern, as you could tell from the memo, was firefighter safety is paramount here. If the police are not engaged and they're not there, and you turn up an incident that seemed to be okay, and then it turns out to be a violent, domestic or something, firefighter safety has just been compromised because we have no police protection and we didn't stage. We went right into the call and find out we've got a civil disturbance or a riot going on. We've got potential liability there as we guarantee our firefighters a safe place to work. And if we can't do that, in spite of our best efforts, we still could have some liability concerns. So I think you need to have your own protocols in place so that your troops understand, like you said, Jason, they are there to serve, and they're aggressive. Sometimes they're cowboys, I call them, and they go into situations that might be inherently dangerous, and they want to do the right thing, which is to save lives. That's why they're firefighters. But unfortunately, sometimes that can be unsafe. It's not the easiest or safest job in the world. After all, you can't go into a burning building unless you've got bunker gear on. It's because it's an unsafe, hazardous atmosphere to life. Same way in emergency medicine, really, with sticks from, and dealing with people with tuberculosis or other infectious diseases. It's a dangerous job if you don't have the right precautions. So that's where I'm coming from in terms of this, is what are the impacts on firefighter safety? And I don't like what I see. So we need to have procedures, SOPs you mentioned. We need to have those in and train your troops. Say to you, if you come into this and there's no police, you're dispatched, you think it's fine, but you encounter guns or violent activity or bomb threats or any of these possible events that suggest that you might not be entering a safe environment, you should back off, get to a safe place. And I think we need to get that in place throughout the fire service sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well said. Well said. So Jason, just speaking for myself, because it's a responder safety issue, there's really nothing more important in my world. So if as you move through this process, if you need anything from this board to support, those efforts, reach out to me, 24/7. If we need to have a special meeting to do anything to support you, please do that.
Thank you.
All right. The only other thing I have is announcements. Are there any or anything else for the good of the order? Is August 12th still on everybody's calendar for the next regularly scheduled meeting? That'll work for everybody.
August, yeah. Works for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
And yeah, well, thank you, everybody. Great meeting. Thanks to everybody that put so much time and work into the packet and so that we could get this business done. I don't have anything else. So we will be adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
Bye.
Chris, I will not be right over there to sign the documents because my daughter is arriving from Texas as we speak.
Would you like to stop by on Monday morning, or should I just leave them out for you or for over the weekend?
Let's go Monday morning.
Okay, I touch base with you.